There is something annoying about that dude over there. It's really easy once you're annoyed by somebody to kind of stay that way. After all, you've come to a conclusion about why it's annoying, and therefore you don't need to look anymore, right?
That's right.
And sometimes that can be a struggle because there are different belief systems involved. And while obviously mine are correct, so theirs clearly can't be, right? But it's at its worst when I see people making decisions that aren't based on the facts as I understand them. So the thing about facts is that they're observational. They are able to be determined objectively. For a simple example, 2 and 2 equals 4, right? And no matter how else I try to slice up those twos, those two twos will equal 4. So it drives me nuts when somebody says that's the way it is and they point to something that doesn't seem to equal 4. So this is what I'm doing wrong. Yes, it is actually me. It is literally my job to invite a new point of view and connect dots to encourage a course of change, but not to actually tell people where they are right or where they are wrong. My job is to see that a person is more capable of dealing with life issues. I can lead that horse to water. Now, this all works out through a process of understanding why a person believes the way they do. Because I can tell a person all day long why they might be wrong, point to the facts.
I could get fired, or even worse, Leslie might give me a lecture on responsibility again. I can't do it.
Let me put it to you this way. How often have you pointed at somebody and told them they were wrong about something and had that person turn around and say, you know, you're right. And I'm going to go make some changes right now. When we want a change in someone that we care about, regardless of who it is, we have to understand how they feel the way they do and how they came to this conclusion. They may not be ready or interested in changing. And this is where I usually go wrong. I can point at facts, and push on it, but that is literally creating resistance as a person holds on and becomes defensive of their position. The solution is both obvious but not instinctive. I have to wait until they ask.
Easy.
When somebody asks a question, they're generally ready to hear the answer. The twist here is that you can get a person to ask you a question. To do this, though, you have to create a dialogue. You want to use open-ended questions, things that start with how, when, where, what. Those are good questions. But you want to avoid 2, not ask why and not ask who. The who doesn't really matter. Clearly, this is a person that they see as an expert source, a person who has enough expertise in this subject to provide an answer for them already. And why is because that generates defensiveness. Think of any variation on why would you do that and the kind of answer you would get. The last part is you got to remember most people are trying to think up an answer to what you just said instead of actually listening to anything. An ongoing dialogue is actually rare because a lot of the times that process of thought, how we're going to answer somebody, consumes and takes away from our ability to listen and hear what somebody's actually saying. So in other words, they're not going to follow along. They're only going to hit high points. So you're going to have to ask things and have a dialogue probably more than once in order to engender change. Change that may not happen. If you're right, you're right, and you don't need to prove anything.